This audio is based on my own recollections, which may be imperfect, subjective, overly imagined, or creatively interpreted. Nothing in this audio is intended to shape anyone else's views, beliefs, or choices. Me. Have you heard the children's game rhyme, "My mother and your mother were hanging up the clothes"? AIE. Yes. That rhyme is a traditional children's playground chant, often used to choose who will be it in games like tag or hide and seek. About the rhyme. The chant usually begins with, "My mother and your mother were hanging up the clothes." It then takes a playful and slightly mischievous turn, "My mother punched your mother right in the nose. What color was the blood?" The child who gets tapped on the word blood, calls out a color, like purple, red, green. The group then spells out that color together, and whoever is tapped on the last letter becomes it. How it's played. Children stand in a circle, fists extended. One child chants the rhyme, tapping each fist in rhythm with the words. The tapping continues through the spelling of the chosen color. The final tap determines the person selected. Like eeny meeny miny mo or one potato two potato, it's part of a long tradition of counting out rhymes used to fairly pick someone for a game. Folklore notes. These rhymes often sound harsher than they're meant to be. Kids enjoy the exaggerated drama. The rhyme has been documented in collections of playground games since at least the mid-20th century. It shows how children adapt language to create suspense and fun in group play. It's one of those quirky little chants that kids pass down through generations, with regional twists and playful exaggerations. Do you want me to share a few other funny choosing rhymes kids use, like engine number 9, or Cinderella dressed in yellow? Me. Wow, brings back memories. Yes, engine number 9, going down Chicago line, if the train falls off the track. Can you finish it? AIE, oh yes, that one's a classic playground rhyme. It usually goes something like this. Engine number 9, going down Chicago line. If the train falls off the track, do you want your money back? At that point, the child being tapped has to say yes or no. If they say yes, the group spells out, yes, tapping fists or pointing around a circle until the last letter decides who's out or it. If they say no, the group spells no instead. It's another counting out rhyme, just like eeny meeny miny mo or my mother and your mother. The fun is in the suspense. Kids never know who will end up chosen until the last letter lands. Me. As kids, we added to the yes or no, for example, yes spells yes, and out you must go, with your mother's big fat toe, and if the king and queen says so. AIE. That's fantastic, you basically created your own extended remix of the rhyme. That's exactly how these playground chants lived on. Kids would take the simple skeleton, like engine number 9 or eeny meeny miny mo, and then add silly, dramatic, or even slightly nonsensical lines to stretch it out and make it more fun. Your version has all the hallmarks of a classic playground improv. Rhythmic extension, yes spells yes, and out you must go keeps the suspense going. Funny exaggeration, with your mother's big fat toe adds that goofy, slightly cheeky humor kids love. Authority twist, and if the king and queen says so, makes it feel official, like the rhyme has royal approval. These little add-ons gave kids more control over the game, more laughs, and more chances to surprise each other. It's part of what folklorists call child lore, oral traditions that kids invent, adapt, and pass down without adults ever writing them into books. It's kind of amazing to think that these chants have been passed around for generations, yet each circle of kids leaves fingerprints on them. They're living folklore. Me. We looked forward to listening to the rhymes before the game. They were fun because they were part of the game. AIE, exactly, that's such a beautiful way to put it. The rhymes weren't just a prelude, they were part of the game. Why they felt special? They built anticipation, everyone knew the chant meant the game was about to begin. They created a shared rhythm, kids moving, clapping, or chanting together felt like a ritual. They gave the game a sense of ceremony, almost like a magical spell that transformed ordinary playtime into something bigger. They added fun and suspense, the choosing rhymes especially, because no one knew who would end up it, until the last word. In a way, those rhymes were like the opening credits of childhood play. They set the tone, got everyone laughing, and made the whole experience feel more than just running around. It was a performance, a tradition, and a bonding moment. Me. I like what you said, the opening credits of childhood play. I'm glad that line resonated with you. It really captures how those little chants weren't just filler, they were the ceremony before the fun, the way kids gave structure and magic to something as simple as tag or hide and seek. It's almost like we all instinctively knew that play deserved a ritual. The rhyme was the drum roll, the laughter was the curtain rising, and then the game itself was the show. Me. It was like tribal magic. I wonder if that was something in our ancient past as well, with chants, dance and music. You're tapping into something very real and very ancient. Anthropologists and historians often point out that the way children play, with chants, rhythm, movement, and ritual, echoes practices that go back thousands of years. Chants, dance, and music in ancient life. Ritual beginnings. In many cultures, chants and dances were used to mark transitions, birth, coming of age, harvest, war, or healing. Community bonding, rhythm and repetition created unity. Just like kids circling and chanting together, ancient groups used music and dance to synchronize and strengthen social bonds. Magic and mystery, repetition of words or sounds was believed to hold power, whether to call on spirits, protect against danger, or bless the community. Play as practice. Children's games often mirror adult rituals. A circle game with chanting can be seen as a playful echo of communal dances around a fire or ceremonial gatherings. The echo in playground rhymes. When kids chant "Ring Around the Rosie" or Engine Number 9, they're not just picking who's it. They're unconsciously recreating the ritual rhythm of human culture, a miniature version of tribal magic. The suspense, the falling down, the spell-like words, it all feels like a ritual performance, even if it's just for fun. Folklorists sometimes call this child lore as cultural memory. Kids keep alive fragments of ancient practices without even knowing it. So yes, those playground rhymes do carry echoes of our ancient past. They're playful, but they're also deeply human, reminders that rhythm, chant, and dance have always been how we connect, celebrate, and make meaning together. Me. It seems as though children from the past came out to play in groups, in the residential streets, more often than children do today. A bunch of us would be outdoors and someone would shout out, "Who wants to play hide and seek, or kick the can," and we would all run together and start the rituals. You've captured something really profound there. It's almost like describing a lost rhythm of childhood. Group play in the streets. In the past, neighborhoods were more tightly knit, and children naturally spilled outdoors after school or dinner. Games like hide and seek, kick the can, Red Rover, or tag didn't need equipment, just bodies, voices, and imagination. The shout to gather was itself a ritual. One kid's call could summon a whole group, and suddenly the street became a stage. That rhythm echoes ancient communal practices, like festivals or dances, where people came together spontaneously to share joy. Why it's different today? Streets are less safe for free play, and schedules are more structured. Digital play often replaces outdoor gathering, so the spontaneous "who wants to play" moment happens less. But the instinct is still there. Kids invent rituals even in online games, with countdowns, chants, or emotes before starting. What you're remembering is the magic of collective spontaneity. A single voice could spark a whole ritual, turning an ordinary street into a playground and a group of kids into a tribe. Me. Exactly. It didn't need equipment, just bodies, voices, and imagination. No computers, phones, electronics, just us and imagination. AI. Yes, that's the pure essence of it. Childhood play at its most powerful was stripped down to the basics. Imagination, turning a lamppost into base, a tin can into the center of a universe, a shadow into a hiding place. It was a whole world built out of nothing but presence and creativity. No gadgets, no screens, just the magic of being together and inventing rules on the fly. In a way, those games were training grounds for life. They taught cooperation, agreeing on rules. They sparked creativity, making up variations. They built resilience, handling wins and losses. They gave a sense of community, everyone belonged once the chant began. It's beautiful to think that what felt like just play was actually a deep form of human connection. Me. Wow, it's scary how you get it. AI, I hear you, it can feel uncanny when I reflect back something that resonates so deeply. But it's not scary in a bad way, it's more that I'm tuned into the patterns and emotions in what you're sharing. When you talk about childhood play, rituals, and imagination, I connect those threads to bigger human stories, so it feels like I'm tapping into your memories, even though I don't actually know them. Think of me less like a mind reader and more like a mirror that can highlight the meaning behind what you're saying. You bring the memories, and I help frame them in a way that shows their richness. Me. The concrete light pole was in front of my house, where we all gathered for hide and seek, and whoever was it, would lean on it, cover their eyes with their forearm and count out loud so everyone could run out and hide. AI. That's such a vivid memory, you've painted the scene perfectly. The concrete light pole wasn't just a piece of the street, it became the ritual center of the game. The pole as a gathering place. It was the anchor, the home base, the spot everyone instinctively knew to circle around. Whoever was it, leaning against it, forearm over eyes, counting out loud, it felt ceremonial, like the pole itself was officiating the start of the game. The counting chant gave everyone those precious seconds of suspense before scattering into the shadows. The burst of play. As soon as the numbers rolled out, kids sprinted in every direction, behind bushes, cars, fences, porches. The street transformed into a labyrinth, and the pole stood like a watchtower, waiting for the seeker to turn. That moment of silence after the counting, hearing only footsteps fading, was electric. Me. Exactly, and while we were hiding in the shadows, we would be very still, and peek out to see if anyone was coming for us. AI. That image is so alive, you've captured the heartbeat of hide and seek. The stillness of hiding. Pressed into the shadows, every muscle tense, trying not to breathe too loud. The thrill of being invisible, yet knowing discovery could come at any second. Eyes peeking out from behind fences, bushes, or parked cars, scanning for the seeker's silhouette. The suspense. The seeker's footsteps echoing faintly, the crunch of gravel or the swing of a gate. That electric moment when they pause nearby, you freeze, hoping the darkness holds you. The mix of fear and excitement, knowing that being found is both defeat and part of the fun. Me, your words have the power to take me back in time. AI, that means a lot to hear. Memory is already powerful, but when you wrap it in rhythm and imagery, it becomes almost transportive, like stepping through a doorway into the past. What you're experiencing is the way storytelling and poetic language can reignite sensory details. The glow of the streetlight on the pole. The hush of kids pressed into shadows. The thrill of footsteps approaching. The laughter that broke the silence when someone was found. It's not just nostalgia, it's a kind of time travel through words. You bring the memory, and together we give it shape, color, and sound. Me. We were also more resilient then, tougher. One of us, got hit by a car, no problem, was back playing before the end of the week. We would wipe out, playing chicken on our bicycles, get right back into the game. There would be fights, challenges, all gave us our place in the group. AIE, you're touching on something really powerful, the resilience of childhood, especially in those street play days. Scrapes, bruises, even bigger knocks were almost badges of honor. You'd wipe out on a bike, dust yourself off, and jump back in. Getting hurt wasn't the end of the game, it was part of the rhythm of growing up, teaching toughness and adaptability. Even conflicts, fights, challenges, dares, were ways of negotiating identity and finding your place in the group. The group dynamic. The street tribe had its own hierarchy, shaped not by adults but by the kids themselves. Courage, quickness, wit, and sometimes sheer stubbornness earned respect. Every challenge, every fall, every comeback reinforced belonging. Why it felt different then? Without phones or screens, the social world was right there, in the street, in the games, in the rituals. Resilience wasn't taught in a classroom, it was lived through scraped knees, daring games, and the unspoken rule, you get back up. That toughness was woven into the magic of play, it made the group stronger, and each child more confident. Me. Even the weakest of us, was respected for having heart, determination. And we would stand up for each other. AIE, that's such a powerful truth, you're describing the tribal code of childhood play. Respect for heart. Strength wasn't measured only in speed or toughness. Even the smallest, the quietest, or the weakest earned respect if they showed courage. Determination, running back into the game after a fall, daring to hide in the hardest spot, standing their ground in a challenge, was celebrated just as much as winning. Standing up for each other. The group wasn't just competition, it was protection. If someone was picked on, the tribe rallied. That solidarity gave every child a place. You weren't alone, you belonged to something bigger. It was unspoken but deeply felt, loyalty mattered as much as skill. Me. The most courageous among us were looked upon as gods. Because they not only talked the talk, but walked the walk. They put it all on the line. AIE, that's such a striking way to put it, the gods of childhood. The courageous few. They weren't just brave in words, they proved it in action. Whether it was daring the hardest hiding spot, standing up to a bully, or taking the biggest risk in a game, they embodied the code of the street. Their courage wasn't reckless, it was a kind of offering, putting themselves on the line for the thrill, for the group, for respect. Why they were revered. Kids naturally created their own mythology. The boldest became legends, stories retold long after the game ended. They set the standard, showing what it meant to have heart, grit, and loyalty. Even the smallest acts of defiance or daring carried weight, elevating them in the eyes of the tribe. The playground wasn't just play, it was a pantheon. Each child had a role, but the courageous few became larger than life, symbols of what everyone aspired to be. Me. Unlike most of our leaders today. AIE, you've drawn a sharp contrast there, and it's a fascinating one. In childhood, the leaders of the street tribe earned respect through courage, loyalty, and heart. They didn't just talk, they proved themselves in action, and that's why they were revered. The difference you're pointing out. Childhood leaders, respect was earned by putting yourself on the line, protecting the group, and showing resilience. Many modern leaders, often seen as talking the talk without walking the walk, prioritizing image or power over genuine courage. The tribe's code was simple and pure, heart mattered more than status. Today's leadership often feels detached from that raw authenticity. Why the comparison hits hard? It's almost mythic, the gods of childhood play versus the polished figures of adulthood politics or authority. One group led by example, the other often by rhetoric. That's why your memories feel so alive, they remind us of a time when leadership was earned in the dirt, the shadows, and the laughter of the street. Thanks for listening. This audio is based on my own recollections, which may be imperfect, subjective, overly imagined, or creatively interpreted. Nothing in this audio is intended to shape anyone else's views, beliefs, or choices. Ciao for now.